Right. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to a rainy council meeting. Your consideration for approval of the minutes. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimous. Consent items 5A through C. Any questions? We have amended agenda, so you're looking at that.
Got one to Civil Ag, that's just a payment for work already done.
That's correct.
And A. One's a really good.
That is an additional reimbursement from the state of Minnesota,
From the state.
from the state.
Any other questions?
So,
Donnie? Josh? All in favor, any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimous. Donnie? There you go. We made a bet last Sunday before this falls off. So Donnie and I were at the fire hall. And I don't know how many council members were there, but we had about 60 turnout, would you say? Jason? Can I give a little report about it? It was really a good open house, a lot of people there, a lot of games. You showed the expansion to the back.
Yep.
What you doing? Anything else?
Just the weather kind of hindered it. I mean, we didn't get to do everything that we wanted to.
So I lost a bet, so I'm now honored to Nani, our bet from the open house. So thanks to the fire department for doing that, for your many hours of volunteerism. And then in addition to that, so we don't forget, in the morning was the bells and waffles from the ambulance at the VFW, and that was, I think, looked like an excellent turnout, 360 or 300 or more people. So to all the volunteers, to the ambulance, and to the fire department, on behalf of the community and the staff, on behalf of myself and the council members and the entire community, thank you for your service to our community. Okay, new business, 13A, liability insurance waiver, Joe.
This is something that we annually do as we negotiate, put together our insurance package for the next year. In the past, the city has not waived any monetary limits on municipal tort liability established by Minnesota statute.
And that's always been the recommendation from Steve, our city attorney.
That's correct.
Okay.
So,
second.
Don and Paul, not to waive it. Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried unanimous. 13B, accept resignation of elected department employee. Adam,
a week ago Friday, Jake Speckius resigned as a city employee in the electric department. This time we are in the process of just reviewing where we're at with the applications that were taken at the time that Jacob was hired.
How long was he employed?
About
5 months.
5 months.
correct. Okay, so I'd ask for a motion to accept the resignation. Josh, Mike, any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimous. So we'll look for something in the future from you, Adam. Okay. 13C, ordinance relative to land use regulations, kennel, second reading. This we had the first reading 2 weeks ago, we're done.
Second.
Paul, Nani.
No, I thought you were waiting for me.
What's that?
Before she got up, I thought she was gonna.
Oh, Steve, do it? Nothing you need to add, right?
Give them all the speeches and,
Will Steve do this?
Yeah.
Steve? Yeah. Okay, okay. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by show of hands. Opposed? Second ordinance, second reading of ordinance passes 5-0 unanimous. 13D, resolution for abandoned and surplus property, Joe.
As we continue to bury the electrical lines in town, we start to accumulate wooden electrical poles. We have 100 poles that we need to get rid of. So we're declaring them as excess property in the hopes that maybe someday they'll come forward and take them off our hands.
Adam, do you have a guess of what they might bring? Just Wag guess,
Nothing.
nothing, okay. I hope there'll be more than nothing.
Just so we don't have to get rid of them.
Have a motion to discuss with the reading, Mike, second, Donnie, and dispense with the reading. Any further discussion?
We keep enough to make repairs in,
They're not worth keeping for repairs.
or the ones that, so if a wooden pole goes down now, we replace it with another wooden, different, a new wooden.
A new one, yep.
All in favor, signify by show of hands. Opposed, resolution passes 5-0, unanimous. 13E, resolution establishing electric rates effective November 15th, and explain the difference from a year ago, Joe.
The only difference is,
I can take it.
oh yeah, thank you.
Well, you didn't get up last time, so it doesn't bother you. Thought maybe your shoes were too tight, your new shoes.
No, the only change is now that we are using LED, we needed a rate for rental lights, so it changed, we put that in.
Security lighting,
Security lighting, the 70-watt LED bulb goes $6 per month for metered, $12 per month for unmetered. Everything else stays the same.
Residential stays the same.
Yep, all the electrical rates stay the same, all the metering for the lights, service fees, and we are removing SIP from our bills now.
Light emitting diode,
That's what we say.
liquid crystal display, see, I got them figured out now. Okay, so this is resolution form.
So moved.
Thanks for the reading, Josh and Nani, is there any further discussion? Anything to add, Ed? All in favor, signify by show of hands. Opposed, resolution passes 5-0, unanimous, thank you. 13F, airport land lease for 2-year contract.
last week we opened bids on the airport land. We had 5 bidders on 2 of the parcels and 6 bidders on 1 of the parcel. And as you can see, we were able to obtain higher per acre charge than we got the last 2 years. 102 acres went for $311 an acre. 21.9 acres went for $281 an acre. And the old airport, which is 27 acres, went for $310 an acre.
It's about $35 an acre more than 2 years. We also put in, we're gonna add into the lease that to make sure there's low crop.
Low crop in a certain area, as required by FAA.
If otherwise, if somebody puts high crop in, they'll be taken off and with no reimbursement back to them. Because that's a requirement, FAA to make sure we keep our funding
Right.
correct.
Yep.
Alfalfa.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
On all of this?
No, on part, just part of it.
Just right around where the airport itself is to run.
And which parcel is that?
Part of 2 and part of 1.
This money was meant to be a full time.
Correct.
Correct, as per our change and what we needed to do in the budget a couple months ago. When we did that, we used to put it to the general fund, it needs to stay according to our accountants. No, accountants,
And according to FAA regulations.
stays in the airport. And we, when we budget this year that it's gonna stay in the airport, it's not going to the general fund for 2014. So we need a motion to approve these. Paul, Josh, and the high bidders, just for your information, was parcel 102 acres Lawrence Taylor, and the 21.9 acres was Lawrence Taylor, and the 27 acres, which was the old airport, was Erie Marine. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Unanimous. So we'll do the contracts, or we will.
Firm.
Let me see. 13G, you just here temporarily, or Steve hasn't retired, right?
I think he's coming in tomorrow.
Before we see in the morning. 13G, request for just waiver wastewater rates while residents south field.
A resident that goes south for 6 months and they would like council to consider changing its policy in regards to the minimum bill for water and wastewater. if the service is shut off at the curb for a period of time when they're not living in the residence. Current policy is that the water meter must be removed and the electricity has to be disconnected in order to have no minimum fee.
The bond requirements.
And what would it cost them to have it hooked up in the spring?
Ours is 50.
Pardon me?
Electric is 50.
Water,
We don't have a reconnect fee.
You said the meter had to be removed, like off the house? Is that what you mean by that?
yes,
The water
Our
meter.
policy
The water meter,
policy is the
Take it
water
out.
meter is taken out.
out of the property itself.
so it doesn't freeze.
And there's no re-hookup fee charge.
Not
We don't
for the
have one
water.
at the present time.
Correct.
So if we did that, we'd be doing that at our cost.
Or you could establish a cost if you so desire to change the policy.
But I mean, currently, if we do that, we don't charge anything.
Correct.
We're
We
limited
do
our
not.
cost, but they are-
Our reconnect fee is based on delinquents that get disconnected. That's why we have a reconnect fee.
And I explained to her when she called that there was, do you need to take the meter out? And she's kind of said, not a lot, that was it. I hang up last, I hung up last, excuse me.
Oh, other communities handle this. Any idea? Think, oh, no idea what to do, anyone else has it.
You wanna table this, we can do some research.
I say we just leave it alone.
That's what I've been saying. Also, I agree.
Yeah, what kind of cost are we talking about?
Minimal, nothing, minimal, because they're out doing their work anyway, so you're gonna take a meter out and take it up.
No,
I think
what's the
Yeah.
charge
What's the
for
standard?
meter for
Minimum.
6 months?
Yeah.
Minimum bill,
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I mean, if they're not using the water,
You know what the minimum bill is for sewer water?
We know it's 25 for the sewer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so that would be for each month to get,
correct.
6 is 150. It isn't as much for water.
You know, Mark,
Somewhere in the neighborhood of $7.
so $30 a month, average,
So you're looking at
6 months,
$200.
$180, correct. I think her concern was, if she came back in the middle of the night, that then she'd have to call somebody out because she wanted to have water on. And I tried to explain that even if we left the water meter in, if it's turned off at the street, she would have the same thing because there's no water in the house because they have to come and turn it on the street. Yeah, Mark?
And another reason that we want to pull the meter out, because if it freezes and breaks,
Mhm.
there is a charge for replacement of the meter then.
Does she winterize her house now? I mean, you would,
It's,
it's not-
And the other issue is how many other people in the community go south for
Maybe
2 or 3 months and what's the,
Paying a warrant there, I think. Yeah. No,
somebody have a motion, what they would like?
I move that we leave it alone.
That we leave the policy
Leave
as
the
is.
policy as is. Well, do we have to make a motion to leave something the way it is? I believe so, policy is policy.
And if she calls back, we'll just tell her that stays the same. Okay,
You
great.
make a motion when you change the policy, not when you leave it alone.
Just so she has clarification.
For the American Bar Association.
Bar Association, okay, Mike. I'm proud of you. Okay, as per city attorney's recommendation, we'll not do anything.
he's been retired too long.
2 months now?
Not quite.
Okay. 13F, campground, storage of units, so
we request to allow open air storage for campers along the floor stalls in the campground located by the Railroad Museum. The individual that was in is willing to pay the 2014 seasonal rate in advance plus $100. The park board did discuss this at the last park board meeting, and one of their major concerns dealt with liability issues. So our recommendation is that we not do anything until we've had opportunity to have Steve Sunday do some research on this.
So do you want to table for next meeting?
Yes.
Or not that this would be good. Mike, second, Paul, any further discussion? Do you have any thoughts on it before we decide to do something, right?
I don't think it's a bad idea, but, I just don't want it to become an issue with, creating snowbanks and that kind of stuff. And we talked about putting them over by the railroad depot, hoping that wouldn't create a problem, but, and we discussed the vandalism part of it too, you know, who's gonna be liable, and even if we aren't liable and they get vandalized, it's gonna be, we're gonna feel bad because,
Okay.
Well, it wouldn't be any different than if they paid a storage fee at in somebody's garage.
that's correct, yeah.
That's what they carry the insurance for. The snow issue would be the biggest thing.
Right.
All in favor, be back in 2 weeks, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried unanimous, we'll see you back in next meeting. Molly. October 16th information meeting for the St. James Property Repair Program here at the community building, which is tomorrow. Can you explain a little bit, Molly?
Right, so as you're all aware, we've applied, or we're in the process of preparing.
Thank you.
As you're all well aware, we're in the process of preparing a small cities development application, for submission again. Right now, we're in the pre-application stages, which means we are collecting information from the residents in the target neighborhood, to determine whether or not we have enough interest to proceed on to a full application. Tomorrow night, we're holding meetings, 5 o'clock for commercial, 6 o'clock for owner occupied, and 7 o'clock for rental property owners to explain the program parameters, explain the loan, and explain how actually the program works, the timeframes and things. So, yeah, correct, at the community building. Today we went around the neighborhood, we delivered a whole bunch of notices to the owner occupied folks, we sent out mailings, it's been in the paper, it'll be on the radio in the morning. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the people in the target area, it's really important that we hear from them. One of the new requirements for the 2014 grant application is that we show that the residents in the neighborhood have responded. Even if they're not interested in proceeding, or even if they're not eligible, we have to be able to show deed, Department of Employment and Economic Development, that there's interest in the neighborhood. This is a new requirement, so again, I can't stress enough that people either, or hopefully come to the meeting tomorrow, but if they're not able to attend, the information that was left on the doors today needs to be filled out and returned back to City Hall, or there's an envelope inside the packet, it can be mailed directly to the Housing Partnership.
So you're looking at approving of things January and money then typically by late spring or so when they get to start, like April and whatever.
Right, we actually find out whether we're awarded late spring, and usually it takes a little while to go through the grant requirements, get the grant agreement signed, and go through all the paperwork, if you will. So usually it ends up being early summer before projects are actually ready to be inspected and things are getting going.
And again, we're participating with Sleepy Eye on this application.
That is correct,
Same as 2 years or 3 years ago.
correct.
So you'll be here tomorrow night with the Southwest Minnesota Housing Partnership. Hughes? No.
Lisa Graffentine actually works there, however, there's a new gal by the name of Jen Prinz who will be here tomorrow night, facilitating the meeting.
They'll explain more in depth of what you just went through.
That's correct.
Okay, very good. So we invite everybody, we'll be in the radio in the morning, so invite everybody, make sure if anybody's watching to come tomorrow night. Again, 5 p.m. is for commercial owners, 6 p.m. homeowners, and 7 p.m. rental property owners. This is a program that's on a 10-year, 30% down payment, 70% possible forgiveness if you own 10 years on a pro rata ownership, 1 year to 10 years, going down 90, 80, 70, 60%. It'll be more in depth tomorrow night. Thank you, Molly. Okay, coffee hour yesterday. Some information in Small Cities Grant was presented. Tenth Avenue North project was discussed, blacktop obviously didn't do it in the rain today.
They're going to try and address the issues after it stops raining. They'll probably be digging out some of the holes and re-graveling, putting in class 5 again. And they have WW on standby that as soon as they're able to, they'll be in here. They had planned on doing it like today, tomorrow, but it looks more like it'd be next Monday at the earliest.
As long as it's warm enough.
Correct.
Okay. 10th Street North, they asked about the fog line that we paint on the east side of the street on the 10th, 11th.
Yeah.
10th Street, so that'll be done next spring, right, Ray?
Nope, it'll be painted on the west side.
What?
And it will be painted on the west side instead of the east side.
Because of,
We moved the crosswalk at the school to be in front of the bus loading area.
There's safety sink.
so it'll be the opposite side of the street.
Sign, no parking signs have already been moved.
So, okay, and that'll be when it warms up in the spring. Okay, crosswalks, two folks asked about painting the crosswalks, at least in the downtown area every year. We do it, is it every 3 years? Is our
Every
policy?
two,
Every 2. Is next year the year for it?
yes, it is.
I think we'd ask the budget committee to consider with Ray's input to do at least right downtown every year. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, the crosswalks are already defined by different colored concrete and colored bricks. My feeling is to paint them once every 2 years. I don't know how much brighter we can make them.
Well, there's other crosswalks around too, we're not just talking about these.
No, correct, like a couple few block area, that's Second Avenue South.
So the ones that are on the state highway, on the Senex and down there. On the stadium, they have what's called ground in paint, where they
Okay,
mill pass across.
like in 2016 when they removed it? Okay.
They do grinding in, so it doesn't wear off so fast.
Can we,
In that design,
You know what
that's a ground in sidewalks.
Okay.
Across it.
maybe at least that'll cover the highway for
Highway.
Okay, good, okay, good idea. Alright. Potholes on 4th Street South and 12th Avenue South, did Joe talk to you about them today, Ray?
Yes, it did.
Okay, are you looking at them?
Yes, we are.
Excuse me, are you correcting them, not just looking at them?
As soon as it stops raining.
Okay, okay. I'm just asking.
Yep, no, that's not a problem. It's on the agenda. We're working in that area, but
Good, okay. Also concerned about a couple of downtown properties that are in tough shape, so hopefully this small cities grant will address that partially, but Joe was looking into that. I had a question on sprinkler meter rate was discussed, and I don't know, did you get a chance to look at that for the rate? Okay, so we'll look at that for, if you sprinkle a lawn and doesn't go through the sewer, through a separate meter, if that rate is higher than our regular water rate. So Joe's gonna look into that, give him an answer like within next week. P-Rock on Swanson Avenue, you're gonna look at that after the rain quits too?
I looked at it. It appears there was a car parked there when it was swept, and that's the only P-rock that's there.
Okay,
Just a small area.
okay. So we'll
It'll
take
be
a look at
picked
that.
up this fall when we're sweeping for leaves and stuff.
Very good. Compost site, tree branches need to go to tree pile and no garbage bags should be left on the site. The RFP's request for proposal is out for solid waste for next year, for January, that's out till, is it 30 days?
End of October.
End of October. Update on the commercial kitchen was requested, we gave, information, they're making chocolate there, Molly, right? There's a guy,
We're still working with him, he hasn't started yet, hopefully we're gonna get him to a point where he can start or is interested in starting, but, we're not quite there yet, we're still working with him, so,
very good. But the commercial kitchen itself is
ready to
Ready?
roll.
excellent, okay. Residents reminder, put your totes on the boulevard for trash pickup or, and recycling. Some have the totes turned the wrong way. There's two big arrows on it. It's hard to not get it figured out, but make sure you have the arrows toward the street so that the people in the trucks don't have to get out and turn it around. Citywide cleanup was discussed. We looked at a different format. We'll look at for the budget for next summer using like an example instead of going around like we did in previous years. Our cost was $20,000 to $25,000. Is to maybe have a dumpster like the city park over here by street department someplace where they would have to bring their stuff in and put it in there. But we'll look at that in the spring, nothing will be done until we look at it next spring, and nothing will be for sure that we do it. City parks had some compliments on how well maintained the city parks are this year. The golf course is under new ownership. Lastly, thanks to the Stray Cat for coffee, and Linda made chocolate chip cookies.
These two houses that I saw being torn down, do we own those properties now?
No.
Who does?
The property owners are still paying the real estate taxes on them.
Okay.
What will happen before the end of the year, or as soon as Corey finishes, we'll be presenting to the council a resolution to do a special assessment for all of the fees that have been incurred to remove those houses. They'll be put on the tax rolls. Odds are pretty good that the property owners will then stop paying the real estate taxes. And after 3 years, they'll come up for a sheriff's auction. And in the past, the county has worked with us. Any price that they put on the property for resale will include those special assessments. And at that time, if somebody's interested, they may come in and attempt to negotiate with the council.
So that we get some of the costs.
So we had some of that back.
And if they put the sale on without that, we still have the right to reassess the special assessment of the, that's our policy.
Yes.
Are those lots? I mean, I know there were houses on the lots, but I mean, are they big enough to build another house, I mean, realistically.
Keyword realistically, they're big enough that you could build on, but the probability of that is very minimal, less than 5%, because you're not gonna see somebody build a new house in a 50 by 150 foot lot in a well-established residential neighborhood that has older houses, older two-story houses around it. Very minimal chance, but probability, but it does clean up the town, which was our goal to start. You bet. Anything else? Gosh, Doc? Jason? Ray? Mark? Adam?
Nope.
Chief? Linda?
The movie this weekend is Gravity. It's rated PG-13. Sandra Bullock and George Clooney for the weekend of the 18th to the 22nd.
Thank you. Molly?
Compost site, we have not set the dates yet for it to be open all week. Watch the newspaper, we'll have it on the website, public access. Molly will do a text message and email when we get to that point.
Did I skip you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, come back to this.
Slight.
Oh, good. Lastly, I meant to do this at the beginning of the meeting, I apologize. Butch Coleman passed away this morning, which is, sympathy would go out to Butch's wife Joyce and David and Bill. Donnie's sister Laura is married to Bill Coleman, so our sympathy goes out to their families. So I apologize, I meant to do that right away, so our thoughts and prayers are with the Coleman family at this time. Okay, a motion to adjourn. Thanks everyone for attending, have a good night.